What is going on? Alex here. Welcome back to my channel. Today, I'm going to be talking about how you can start and run your own freelance flight instructor business. Before we get into things, I do want to make it very clear that I'm not a CPA, I'm not a lawyer, I'm just a guy on YouTube. So before you take any of my advice or any of my recommendations, make sure you consult with a CPA or a lawyer if necessary. Okay, so there's actually 3 scenarios where it makes sense that you should consider starting your own freelance business. One, and the most obvious, is that you want to buy your own aircraft and start instructing people in that airplane. Second scenario would be that you want to start your own CFI business and start instructing people in their own airplane. And lastly, let's say that in your area, the flight schools are actually hiring their flight instructors as contractors. Just so you know, if they hire you as a contractor, those flight schools don't really have any control over you. In the eyes of the law, you're pretty much like your own business. I do want to talk about some of the pros and cons of starting your own business. Let's start with the cons. So as a freelance flight instructor, your day doesn't end the moment that you fly your last student. Now you're going to have to go home or your office and start invoicing your students. You're going to have to do your bookkeeping, and there's going to be a lot of tasks that you're going to have to do. Everything is your responsibility. You are your own business. You are the boss. So everything you do is your responsibility. That means that if you break something on the airplane, who's responsible? You.
Flaps up now.
Gear up.
No.
You're not going to have the flights come and bail you out or pay for the damage you did. Now, like I like to say, more money, more problems. If you have your own business, you have the potential of making more money, but you are going to have more headaches and more problems to deal with. If you end up buying your own airplane, well, now you're also going to have to deal with the maintenance and all that stuff that you usually don't deal with when you work for a flight school. But in my opinion, the pros really outweigh any of the negative stuff because, first of all, you are your own boss. You can make your own schedule, and it is truly more satisfying working for yourself than for someone else, and is very fulfilling. So let's talk about some of the things that you need to do before you start your business. Obviously, if you're going to go the route of having your own airplane, well, you're going to have to buy an airplane. I actually have a video on how you can purchase one and how to do it properly. It should be somewhere around here, and you should have a clear understanding of what type of services you are going to offer. For the most part, if you're going to be instructing people that have their own aircraft, usually they're already certified, so maybe they're working on their instrument rating. So before you start your business, you should get your initial and then also your CFII. So that's something that you have to keep in mind. And if you end up working as a normal CFI for different flight schools that just hire you as a contractor, then you will just pretty much training either private pilots, commercial pilots, and also CFIs. Super important. Also, you want to have some sort of operation manual or something written down on how you conduct training, how you do billing. Just have everything written down in some sort of manual, and also have a syllabus. That way you know exactly what you're going to do the first day that you're with a student, and everything is organized. You don't want to look disorganized. And that just doesn't go if you're your own business owner. I mean, any flight instructor should be very organized. And this one is extremely important. You need really good insurance. Again, like I said in the beginning, if you screw something up, you better make it right, and that usually is going to be a lot of money. The one that I recommend is going to be the one by SAFE, or the Society of Aviation and Flight Educators. They offer a super good insurance for instructors, and there's other options like the AOPA. Also, you should consider having some general liability insurance, so that way if someone slips and falls, and they decide to sue you, well, you will be covered in some way. This is my recommendation. I haven't seen a lot of instructors do it, but it's something that I came across and I think is a great idea, is having an agreement. In this agreement, you're pretty much going to put what your rate is, what happens if a student is late. So that way, there's a clear understanding between you and the student on all the terms and conditions. It shouldn't be complicated, just one page or something like that should be good enough. Give it to the student, sign it, you sign it, and that way if they decide to come back at you and say, well, why did you charge me this no-show fee? Well, hey, And the agreement said, if you didn't show up, I'm going to charge you some money. Once you know exactly what type of services you're going to offer and all that is taken care of, it's time for you to incorporate. I personally have a LLC that is an S Corp. Now, there's, you can do an LLC C Corp and you can do a corporation, and there's different options. The best thing you can do is talk to your CPA and explain to them what you're trying to do, and they will tell you which is going to be best for you. Once that is taken care of, well, you're going to apply for the EIN number. Just like you have a social security number, well, businesses have also a number, which is the employer identification number. You also want to check if you're going to need any sort of business license to operate. Once all this is completed, then you can go ahead and open up a bank account. I recommend that you go to a local credit union and try to open up an account with them, because usually they don't charge you any monthly fees and stuff like that. So congratulations at this point. I mean, you're ready to rock and roll. But before you do, there's one more thing you have to do, and that is go to your airport that you're going to be operating from and ask for a minimum operation standard document. Some airports may have it in their website, but if they don't, then just go to the reception area and ask someone for it. And in this document, they're going to tell you exactly what you need to be able to conduct business at that airport. For example, sometimes for flight instructors, they'll require you to have an office. So those are different things that you have to take into consideration when you're trying to figure out how much all this is going to cost you. And also, you don't want to get in trouble. You want to keep your reputation clean, so make sure you do your due diligence. Because I've seen situations where people just go at the airport and they start putting signs and doing things, and then they just take them away because you're not supposed to do that. You need to follow the operational standards. In terms of marketing, you should definitely get a logo. That way, when you send invoices and stuff like that, where your logo is there and that's your identification, that's your brand, so that way people can easily recognize you. Also, even though it's not necessary, you should consider getting a website. If you decide to go with a website, make sure that you optimize it for search engines, or you do SEO. Because if you don't, then your website is literally like a billboard in the middle of the forest. Here's what I mean. So if someone goes and search flight instructors near me, and your website is not optimized to show up when someone types that keyword, well, you're not going to appear. And that's not good. So if you're gonna go the website route, just make sure that you invest the necessary amount of money to get it right the first time. Something that is free and can help you get a lot of students is going to be using Google My Business. You are going to need a location though. So let's say that the airport that you're going to be doing business at requires you to have an office. Well, you can use that address and create a Google My Business account. That way, again, when someone searches for flight instructors near them, or if you buy the airplane and you decide to start like a flight school, then you can show up in the search results. You should also consider having business cards, flyers, maybe some apparel like hats or t-shirts. If you're going to go that route, make sure that it's something that your students are going to wear. Usually if it's just your logo and something like that, I wouldn't wear something like that. So try to make it maybe customized to your student. Like if they solo, you can create a t-shirt with like the name of the airport, the date, maybe like a kind of like a graphic of the runway, something like that, something that people would actually wear. And believe it or not, that goes a long way. Maybe they go to the gym and they wear this shirt, or they go out for dinner, whatever the case may be, and people ask them, oh, what is this about? Oh, it's just my buddy Alex that is a flight instructor. You should hit him up and get some flight training. And finally, I want to break down more or less what is it going to cost you to start your own freelance flight instructor business. Obviously, the first thing you got to do is get your license. That's going to go for about $4,000. Now, if you also need to get your CFII, because you're going to be mainly training people that already have their own aircraft, then that could be maybe $8,000. Incorporating, so that is opening up your business, depending if you use a CPA or you use like a website like LegalZoom, it's going to cost you about $300 or so. Insurance. So this is going to cost you $765 a year if you go with SAFE, and if you're part of the FA Wings program, they're going to give you a little discount. It's going to bring it down to $637 a year. The website, anywhere from $600 to $1,000. Just make sure that it's SEO optimized. That's the reason why I'm giving you this estimate. And all the print marketing, things like flyers and business cards and t-shirts and stuff like that, let's say $200. So the total to just get your CFI license, just the initial, and all the things that I listed, is going to be $5,965. Now, a couple things. If you guys like the video and you guys want me to go maybe more in depth on how you can do the marketing, like get into like maybe paid ads, like Facebook ads and Instagram ads, please comment below. I can definitely work on a video where I show you guys how you can utilize different tools to reach more, to get to more people that are interested in flight training. So this is pretty much it. If you actually found it helpful, I would really appreciate a thumbs up, and I will see you in the next video.